I don't think I've ever seen such bad money drops. Shit. That would have been nice, but I still think I wouldn't end up with enough money. At this point, I'm going for the backup rupees no matter what. Everyone was really good. This stream is very bad. These assholes keep going directly in my path. That's best run in a long time. Much faster than my average. Yeah. Oh. Boy, Max. Hey, what's up, dude? Ever played Half-Life? That's a shooter, right? I don't really like shooters. I like to keep my violence as unrealistic as possible. It's like about zombies, right? That's alright. Oh, aliens. Okay, I had that messed up. Yeah, that's cool. I know I've never seen it played, but I know what the at least like the cover art for it is. It's like a dude with glasses and orange. Mistaken. Why is that more scary? Because aliens are more powerful, therefore harder to stop. I understand go that far that way. Guess they never figured out Dyson spheres and nanobots. They still need manual labor. That's pretty old school. Ah. That's messed up. How does a guy with a gun save the world from an all-powerful alien race? He's lucky. Let me see. What made you think of this game? No, I was like, why'd you bring it up? It's just like, it was on your mind. Are you playing it currently? Gotcha. Half-Life in reference to some particular element that's involved in the plot. Element 115. Perhaps because humanity is enslaved to their living half-lives or something. Yeah, I made plot a very big component of my own RPG that I made. Although it's pretty cheesy. So I'll try to execute it as well as I could. Hard to do plots well in video games because a huge portion of your audience wants nothing to do with it and wants to just get on with the action, and so you can't make the cutscenes take too long or require too much reading. So you have to kind of condense the plot and simplify it often. growing up, like this game, even as a kid, like I would just mash through the cutscenes with the girls and the crystals because like I didn't give a shit what they had to say. Yeah, I generally don't like reading too much when I want to just play video games. That's why Final Fantasy XIV was not a good fit for me. I played it last month for a good while and I didn't want to read any of the shit that they made me read, so like I had no idea what was going on in the plot. Supposedly that's like one of the better aspects of the game, but I'd rather have a podcast or some other YouTube video on the side when I'm playing an RPG or an MMO rather. Yeah, and about TV tropes, most of my information about what makes good writing comes from Jim Butcher, author of the Dresden Files. I've read quite a few of his blogs and listened to a lot of his lectures on writing. But I don't know how much of what he says applies to video game writing. I think it's characters that make good plots for the most part. Characters and be able to show them having emotions that are believable and that you have empathy for. That's the biggest part. I've read so many books where the protagonist just like does something early on that makes me not like them, and then like it ruins the book. I have trouble with a lot of modern fiction because they try to make morally gray characters. I think it's good to have shades of gray in your characters, but if I don't feel like the main character has good, solid morals, then I don't want to see a story through the viewpoint of that character. I'd rather have a main character that I can idolize and try to emulate. But you also have to have flaws in your main characters, or else they're just not interesting. Well, yeah, anti-heroes are great. Like, Goku and Vegeta are perfect. Like, they're perfect characters as far as I'm concerned. Vegeta's pretty much the best anti-hero, and Goku's got a truly pure heart. Although he's a pretty bad father. But most people watching it don't really care about that. I haven't watched Berserk, but I've heard good things about it. Yeah, most of my favorite stories have an anti-hero. Like, Dresden Files has a guy named John Marcone, who's like a gangster. So he does a lot of crime and kind of runs Chicago. But like, he's often got like motivations that make him useful to the main character. Chrono Trigger, you've got Magus. He seems pure evil at first, but then you find out his story is a little more complicated. I think I have watched Berserk, I think, actually, when I was very young. All good stories have philosophy in them. Even if the author doesn't intend it to be there, their philosophy is going to come out. I do think that the best authors don't like consciously try to add themes to their stories. Like, what's the theme I'm going to write about today going to be? Like, I don't think they, like, good authors think that way, but they'll end up having themes anyway, because there's always ethical decisions being made by all the characters, and you can see which characters have what results from what decisions, and the ones who have good outcomes tend to have the ethics that the author favors. Cannot do this from save no life. Well, if I do ever watch another anime again, I'll keep that one in mind. I don't currently have any other anime that I'm thinking about watching, so I guess that's contender number 1 right now. I don't know, I didn't mind violence at all when I was younger. It wasn't until I turned like 25 that I started to like try to reduce my violence intake. Like, but yeah, it's like when you're a teenager, teenagers love fucking blood and gore and fucking hacking people's limbs off and shit. That's why Ninja Gaiden Black is so popular among like teenagers back in the day. I can usually get down with with violence if it's for heroic purposes, but just senseless violence where like the author pays no attention to the victims. Like I don't like when people just die in a story and like nobody feels bad for them even though they're innocent. Like that lacks humanity. Have I made any major mistakes yet? I don't think so. This run's been okay. So it's still potential PB. Yeah, that might not be a bad thing, the protagonist being an asshole. Like a good example of a protagonist I don't like is I read a book where this basically he's approached by this young woman who says that she's going to die tonight unless she gets his help because he's like the only magic user or whatever who can do something about it. And the guy's just like, sorry, that's your problem. And then she dies. And like, I can't really... I don't care about that protagonist anymore, because... like, he violates, like, basic empathy. Like a good example of a protagonist I do like is there's a character named Alex Virus from the Alex Virus series. It's another urban fantasy. But his thing is like... in book 2, he's like... he's sneaking into a base to like save some people. And like... he ends up shooting a guard in the head. And like he feels really bad about it. You know? Like, he wished he hadn't done that, but he had to. And that kind of more like it's a more relatable portrayal of someone killing someone else. Like, and then that character over time he gets more and more jaded and like less concerned about killing people. But by that time, you can understand why he got that way. And like you start with empathy for the main character, so it's like you can go on that journey with him and like still find it relatable. But if book 1 you have like the main character not saving an innocent girl's life, I mean it's hard to recover from that. Damn it. I won't? Okay, well. Thing about Alex Virus is, I guess this is slightly spoiling it, so hopefully Hobox isn't here. I'm trying to get him to read it. But the main guy does go on an arc where he does become more jaded to killing, and like more willing to do ruthless things to make sure the right thing happens, which is usually the ethically right thing. Like his goals is for like the right ethical decision, but he has to do a lot of dirty shit that's not ethical to get there. But by the end he's basically pure good again. So like he goes on a full journey from like good to kind of bad to good again. And that was good, because I think I'd be less satisfied with the story if the hero didn't have a redemption. Yeah, I'm trying to get more people to check out the Alex Veers series. Problem is, like, most people need to read Dresden Files first, because that's even better, and most people haven't read either of them, so I gotta try to push Dresden Files on them first, and then get them to check out Veers. But 90% of the people I recommend these books to never check them out, which is typical, I guess. It's all urban fantasy. That's like my go-to genre. For me, high fantasy with like elves and like horsemen and swords and shit. Like, I used to like that shit as a kid, but now it's like it's too detached from reality. Like, I can't pretend I'm there. I don't believe I'm there. I can tell that it's just a completely fake, made-up world. Whereas with urban fantasy, you have that touch of realism from it being in a modern environment with things that you recognize everywhere. And then a little bit of magic on top of it. That's a lot more enjoyable for me, because I do like the magic. But yeah, pure like high fantasy, not my thing. I also don't like series that are too modern, I guess, and too full of mundane things. Like if it's just like an action thriller with a guy like with a gun, like that's not as interesting to me as a dude with a gun but also a wizard staff who can like summon fire and shit. So I do like the fantasy aspects, but it's just like if there's too much fantasy in a book, then I'm not able to suspend disbelief. Is Berserk set in like samurais and shit? Well, I'm mainly thinking of stuff exactly like Lord of the Rings. Like, I do think Lord of the Rings is the best high fantasy that I've ever read. But like, there are too many elements in that story that are things that we don't see in our day-to-day lives. Therefore, it starts to no longer match reality in any way, shape, or form. That's what I have a problem with. I get annoyed when, like, every time you go to a new high fantasy series, you're instantly deluged with, like, 10, like, made-up gods. You have all these names of people who, like, don't sound like normal people's names at all. Like, it's like it's basically this big-ass, like, vocabulary you have to learn just to understand what the fuck is going on in the world. And I'd rather follow a story of a guy named Harry. Fucking... He has trouble paying his rent, and he has a dog and a cat and fucking car problems, but he also happens to be a wizard. Like, that's my style for sure. Yeah, I might not like Berserk then, because I feel like it would put me in a worse mood. Like, dark shit happens in the urban fantasies that I read, for sure. But you always kind of feel like you always kind of feel like, well, there are characters who are so virtuous and good that, like, they're still good in the world. I guess it can help. It can do the opposite in that it teaches you the kind of the attitude to have during hard times, how to handle struggle. Like, yeah, one of the better books out there is the I forget what it's called, but it's the story about a guy who was in like a concentration camp, and like it's just like how he managed to like keep his humanity. Interesting. I think the key, like what humans have to deal with is, in real life, is the fact that struggles do tend to make you into a worse person. Just like naturally, like an animal that's in pain is going to lash out at friends because it's in pain. Doesn't necessarily make the animal bad. It just means that they've got a lot of shit they're dealing with. Forget where I was going with that point. Yeah, I like guys who fight against fate for sure. To some degree, I like seeing people sort of go above their social class, like excel like their social boundaries. But I also think it's very easy for books to like turn like straight up like communist, and like, and how like anti-class they are and shit. Like the Red Rising series, that's a science fiction, but like I didn't get very far in it, but like the gist of what I got is that the group are called like the Golds. They're like the wealthy, powerful people in society. They were just all bad, and like because you're a gold, you're bad. It's like, I feel like that's like a social commentary along the lines of, you're from America, you're bad because you're rich and wealthy and shit. And or like it's even kind of like it kind of alludes to the idea that the white people were bad. Anything that tries to paint like a whole group of people as like flawed like that is lacking nuance and individual characteristics. It's like clearly just like communist propaganda, basically. Alright, time to find out how lucky I am. This is the split where I had too many games. I believe you said you aren't familiar with this game and never played it before, so I do want to explain that 2 mini games in this split where you have to get a heart piece. And if I don't get good luck, then my run can't PB. So in a way, this is the most exciting split of the run, but also usually the most disappointing. One of the recent runs I did had extremely good luck, but the performance in the first half hour was really bad, so I couldn't PB even with the good luck. This run, on the other hand, has a good enough performance that if I get the good luck again, this could be good. Yeah, that's true in real life, but most video games I've played, the luck stat, like, doesn't even do anything. I think Final Fantasy has luck, doesn't it? Like, first Final Fantasy? Pretty sure it does, and, like, it literally does nothing. Like, alright, coming up here is the first mini game. The idea is I'm trying to get a heart piece from without having to leave the area and restart the mini game. I have 30 seconds to dig up the heart piece. And if I don't get it before that 30 seconds is up, it's pretty much GG. I can't PB anymore. A side note, I do also want to get a lot of red rupee drops from this. Those are 20 rupees each. Not looking good. Come on. Nope. Alright, well. That's pretty much a wrap. It's conceivable that I could still PB with second try here. But if I fail twice, like, it's just definitely super dead. I also need to stop clinking. Just wasting my precious time here. Alright, yeah, this run's over. Which is good, because that means I can just go take a leak without feeling bad about it. I'm gonna have to pee pretty soon here. It's random, but I think it's something along the lines of you can only get the heart piece starting after 25 holes have been dug. So the first 25 holes I dig here, they can't possibly be the heart piece. But after that, it's like a 1 in 10 chance or something. Maybe a little less likely than that. Like right now, any dig I do could give me the heart, but I didn't get it again. Yeah, there's some skill to it too, like a little bit. Like you want to get those first 25 digs as quickly as possible, so that your digs can actually get the heart piece. Yep. Most Zelda 100% categories of like all the Zeldas have like mini games like this where it's just pure luck whether you get the heart piece. It's one of the reasons a lot of people just don't mess with 100% at all. Yeah, if you're doing any percent, the RNG in this game is a lot less important. No, it is still important. For one of the bosses, you can lose like up to a minute from bad luck. Also, pretty much every enemy reaction that you get in this game is luck too. So like there are certain enemy movement patterns that will make the fights go by quicker and easier. So there's some luck in that sense, but this mini game is just pure awful. What was that, 5 tries I didn't get it, or 6 tries now? I probably lost like 5 minutes to this shit at this point. But yeah, the worst part about this game is there's 2 of them. Like after this mini game, like a couple minutes later, I have another luck-based mini game. And obviously World Record gets it like first try and has incredible performance. It's like, it's very hard to be competitive. Oh yeah. It's one of the big reasons too why like I was very against RPG speedrunning as a concept when I first got into speedrunning. But I learned that with a lot of these RPGs, there's actually less luck involved than you would think. A good example is Final Fantasy V. All the fights in Final Fantasy V, like all the boss fights pretty much are like completely under your control. Like there are little things that can save a little time here and there, but you're never gonna lose to a boss because you got unlucky in that game. Like if you lose to the boss, it's because you didn't do the strat right. Whereas I thought RPG speedruns, like I originally thought that they were all just like totally random. There we go. But yeah, a little late on that heart piece. It was like 7th try or something. Yeah, 2 is very, very random. I think Final Fantasy 1 might be the most luck-based. Because, yeah, I don't know how much you know about it, but the optimal route has you use black wizards for like your main DPS. And the black wizards have the lowest defense stat. And basically your run can end pretty much anywhere if an enemy decides to target the black mage with a physical attack. Pretty much all the bosses at the end, like if they choose to target the black mage at all, then they'll just die in one hit. And then it's GG. That's pretty ridiculous. That's why when I speedrun Final Fantasy 1, I do the marathon safe route, which is with red mages instead of black mages. Red mages can wear like chainmail and shit, so like they're way less likely to die. And they can still cast like pretty much all the spells that make black mages useful. The difference is they have to be higher level in order to cast the same number of spells, basically. Yeah, just speaking of luck and speed games, like, it's a big reason why I was like my first serious speed game was Donkey Kong Country 2. I didn't know at the time, but in retrospect, one of the things that made it a really good speed game is almost entirely under your control. Like, if you move the same way through the level every time, you're gonna get the same results. Like, there's pretty much like all the enemies you have to dodge along the way, they're all gonna move in a predictable way based on how you move when you spawn them. There's just one problem with DKC2. It's the very first boss, about 2 minutes into the run. He is RNG, because like it's the, I don't know if you play the game, but it's the crow that like drops eggs on you, and like you have to hit him with the eggs when he throws at you. But like there's a 50% chance any given egg that he drops on you is going to basically bounce and let you pick it up. But 50% of the eggs, instead, they like bounce and then disappear, and you can't actually use them to hurt the boss. So pretty much the only way to get a good run is you have to get real eggs, only eggs that you can actually use. And you only need 2 of them, so it's 2 50% dice rolls basically, or coin flips. So like your chances of getting through it are reasonably high, which is why the game is tolerable. But it also gets really old when you end up getting stuck in the first world for hours because the dude gives you real egg or fake eggs the whole time. So this is the other RNG minigame. You're allowed to open 2 chests every time you play the game, then you gotta reload the area. The first chest can't possibly give you the heart piece, but the second chest can. And then the second chest, I think, has like something like a 1 in 8 chance of giving the heart piece. It's usually not as bad as the digging game for me, but I've also had days where it took me like 50 tries to get it. There we go. Really? That was really unfortunate. So that was actually pretty good. Like, if I had gotten first try on the digging minigame and that luck on the chest game, I could have still PB'd probably. But obviously I lost like 5 minutes to the digging game, so it's over. Just playing for fun at this point, and I guess practice. Which I clearly need if I'm gonna be doing shit like that. Yeah, NGB is pretty bad in terms of his RNG, as you would know if you watch Paulson's stream at all. Never hear the end of it. But that's a more interesting type of RNG to me. Like, these mini games where like the game either gives you a heart piece or it doesn't. That's just awful. At least with NGB, like there's a combination of what the enemies do and your reaction to that. So like no matter whatever the enemies do, there's always something new that you can do to respond. Not for all of them. Not for all enemies. Like with Alma, like there's nothing special about how you respond to not having your flying swallows land. I mean, you need your flying swallows to land, and that's just how it is. Yep. That to me makes it more interesting to play. Like, I have a better time. Generally have more fun speedrunning NGB and a lot of other games because I never know what's gonna happen. It's very unpredictable. So like I have to have reactions as opposed to just following a script. This game's a little more like just following a script. That's bad. I was supposed to catch that fairy in the net. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword because like if you're speedrunning competitively and you really just want to get the world record, you're gonna want a game where it's very scripted and you're trying to do the same thing every time as like accurately as you can. But that reduces the fun, in my opinion. So it's like you can either play a game that's fun, but like you can easily get screwed, or a game that's less fun, but you can actually control it. Like... kind of a bad fight. I'm gonna pee since this run's already dead. Yeah, since you said you played Wind Waker recently, that's an interesting one in terms of luck. The big thing is that there's that mini game. There's kind of like Battleship, where you got the grid and like hidden boats, and you got like 25 cannonballs, and you gotta hopefully hit the squares that have hidden boats on them. That shit is brutal, except there is actually basically an app that solves it for you, that's able to predict. Oh, okay. Well, do you know the game Battleship? If so, it's basically exactly that. The good news is speedrunners can open this app and basically input what they're seeing on the board and have the app tell them like where the most likely locations are for the hidden boat. But I never figured out how to use the app. So when I do it, it's just me trying to get lucky and hit these invisible boats. And I've lost like 15 minutes to that game before. So that game is pretty awful when it comes to RNG. If you don't use the app or whatever. And then Wind Waker has a boss. If you'll recall the flying like worm boss of like the Wind Temple. Yeah, that guy has like a random chance to glitch out and make it so that when you beat the boss and you step on the Triforce pad to like go to the cutscene, the game just crashes. So that's fun. That's a great example of RNG. And I've had that happen to me, I feel like more often than is the average. It's happened to me like at least 6 or 7 times. I haven't even speedran the game that many times. Like, I've done 100% maybe 10 times. And of those 10 times, I think like fucking 4 of them got the crash. So that's really bad thing about Wind Waker. But I would say actually like the absolute worst are both Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. If you play them on N64, you're fine. But if you play on Wii Virtual Console, there's something called a VC crash. Which means the game can crash whenever it feels like it. Just like whenever the fuck it wants to crash, like it can just decide to crash at any point in time. Yeah. The game just freezes, the music stops, and like usually whatever sound effect is going on just like gets stuck on repeat. So it has it's definitely the worst thing about speedrunning. Oh my god, really? I thought I was well enough above it to not get grabbed. Yeah, for that reason, I don't speedrun Majora's Mask, like, hardly ever. I've had the crash happen on, like, 3 or 4 runs. And, you know, Majora's Mask doesn't let you save every time you go into the menu like Ocarina of Time does. And there's a section in 100% where even if you want a safety save as often as you possibly can, like, you go like 3 hours with no save opportunity. So like your game could crash on like hour 3 of that shit. But it's at least in Ocarina of Time, if you speedrun that game, you can just like save every time you go into the menu. And very often you can minimize your time lost to a crash to like less than 5 minutes. Whereas Majora's Mask, you lose like 2 hours. It's ridiculous. It's a shame though, because I think of all the 3D Zeldas, Majora's Mask definitely has the most fun, glitchless 100%. Like, it's a very good run because of all the time of day shit that comes into play. Like the way the route makes sure you're always at the right place at the right time of day is really cool. Really? Nice, dude. Currently I have like 4 YouTube videos and I'm like partially through that I need to finish. And one of them is Majora's Mask 100%, no major glitches, which, as you probably know, means all the glitches, basically. I can really appreciate this run now, because last time I watched Majora's Mask 100%, I didn't actually know anything about the glitches or the route, or like... But now I can really appreciate it, because I've done enough of the glitchless 100% runs to know like what the route is really like. And I learned any percent no major glitches. So I understand a lot of the glitches now too. I'll be able to enjoy watching that a lot more. Yeah, I'll never want to actually run a glitched category of Majora's Mask. It's just too precise. Like it's like all the boss key skips. Oh wow! I didn't throw it close enough to the center, I guess. Yeah, all the boss key skips are awful in Majora's Mask. Like you gotta like hover out of bounds and then like do giant like mega flips with like specific directions on them. There's one really easy boss key skip, and that's the Snowhead Temple one. You basically just get an angle and then backwalk into the door and you go right in there. Yeah, Stone Tower is really hard. I was only able to do the boss key skip. Well, I should say the optimal boss key skip I've only been able to do once with like tons of save states. There is a boss key skip where, like, if you go to the room with the actual boss door, you can clip through the door, and that skip is not too hard. Like, you could probably learn it in like 10 minutes. But the optimal skip is you don't actually get there from the room before the boss. Like, you basically start at the entrance of the whole fucking temple and skip the whole thing, going out of bounds and clipping to the boss door. And that's a whole different beast. But the most impressive thing I've seen in Stone Tower by far is in 100% you've got the fairy chests that you gotta get, like 15 fairies. And one of them is like way up on the ceiling, like really far above you. And normally you're supposed to like flip the tower upside down and get it that way. But you have to like, you gotta hover all the way up to it. Like grab the chest upside down. And like, that's super hard. Like hovering itself isn't too hard to learn in Majora's Mask. But actually getting really precise positioning on top of just hovering, that's what's insane. You gotta hover like directly to the front of the chest. And like be at just the right height and position, or else it's not gonna let you open it. And that is why I do glitchless. Yeah, because Majora's Mask has time of day requirements, that makes it really bad for a game that to like walk away from for a few months and then come back to it. Like in Ocarina of Time, for the most part, once you know all the glitches, you can take a break and come back and do the glitches. It might take you a lot more tries, you know, but it's okay because you can just keep trying. Majora's Mask, you have an in-game timer all the time, basically. So, like, if you fail a trick because you haven't played the game in a while, there's no recovery. Like, you stop being able to actually do the route. What's up, Jack here? So yeah, like if you want to speedrun Majora's Mask, you have to practice it a lot recently before you start running it. Most speed games I do, you can at least still do the route if you haven't practiced recently. Like this game, I don't sit around and practice, but I can still do all the main tricks required to get through the run. Like, it's no big deal. Yeah, runners of that game have to be like in tip-top shape before they even attempt to run, or else they're just not going to be able to meet the in-game time of day requirements. And like the community doesn't have like well documented like beginner routes. Like, I mean, they actually do have a route that they call the beginner route, but I assure you it requires a shitload of practice just to do the beginner route. And it's still super unforgiving for a time of day. I want to find a heart in these bushes. Alright, that's good. I just knew that was going to bounce. I shouldn't have tried it. I don't know why I did that. Are you talking about the Deku Palace? That reminds me too, like another reason it's super hard is you have a limited number of explosives. And like the routes generally utilize all the explosives you're given. So if you make any mistakes, you're not going to have enough explosives to actually do the route. But it happens in Ocarina of Time too. Like, I don't know if you were there the other day, but I did do a glitched 100% Ocarina of Time run. That I basically quit 2/3 of the way through it because I got too low on explosives from failing a particular skip too many times. And that put me in like the worst mood I've been in a long time, pretty much. Shit. I did talk to the Ocarina of Time Discord and figure out why I was failing the trick. And then once they explained it, I got it first try, no problem. But too little, too late. Yeah, well, this game's easy as fuck to have enough bombs for. It's like bombs drop off of like pretty much every enemy you kill. And even in Ocarina of Time and Majora, you can get regular bombs refilled pretty easily. It's the bomb chews that are a problem. A lot of tricks use bomb chews. And those don't just drop wherever, you know, you gotta buy them at the shop. And then, like, yeah, your money routing will not allow you to just go buy more either. I do kind of want to give OOT another shot. Because I did have fun for a good portion of the 100% run. It's just like the amount of negative feeling I got from failing the one trick at the end. Like far more than like counterbalanced the amount of good feelings I got from all the tricks that I hit correctly. Like, like the net negativity from doing that is super high. OT is way easier for money management. You pretty much always have way more money than you actually need. Whereas Majora's Mask, you have the 5,000 rupee bank heart piece you gotta deposit 5,000 rupees for. Yeah, that's rough. OT does sound kind of fun right now. I'm almost tempted to give that a go instead of Majora or Mega Man and Mario 64. But I'm not going to because as fun as it sounds now, I know that about an hour or two into the run I'm going to stop thinking it's fun and start thinking it's work. Alright, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Alright, take it easy, dude. Have a good one. I doubt I'll do it tomorrow. I'm pissed because tomorrow's already Sunday, day 4 of my 4 days off. Like, I feel like I haven't done anything over the past 3 days to make my time off in like any way, shape, or form, like relaxing or worth it. Like I feel like I'm not actually getting a break from work because like I've not had a quality time off. Yeah, pissed. I'm just gonna, the whole time tomorrow, like, I'm not gonna be able to enjoy tomorrow either because of just the fact that it's the last day of vacation. I'm just gonna be thinking about having to go back to work the whole time. I need to learn how to live in the present moment. I'm very, very bad at things like appreciating what I have, and I spend all my time constantly thinking, like, what's the next big problem I gotta deal with? What's the next problem? Yeah, now is good, but I don't pay attention to that because there's a problem coming up in like 2 days. It sucks, man. That's no way to live. Terrible. You gotta be able to do that without killing the blue guard. I think you should be able to just avoid him. I always end up killing him because I'm too slow or clumsy. There's one dungeon I could remove from this game. It would be this one. It's definitely the least fun dungeon in the route. Wait a second. Okay, yeah, no. How did I... What? Ah, get the fuck out of the way. That was really annoying. You're supposed to be able to pick up the pot while you were pushing the statue. But somehow the glitch that is involved in that wore off. So I had to move the statue to pick up the pot. It's really stupid. Does anyone want to see Mega Man X and Mario 64 replaced with another game? Guess that's a no. Maybe nobody's here, but I'll take that as meaning people want to see Mega Man X and Mario 64. Thing is, I don't actually know how to speedrun those games, really. Especially Mega Man. Yeah, I just casual run that shit. What chaos? Oh my god. What's up, February? Maybe in like 6 more months or so, I should be in pretty good shape then. Yeah, I'm on a weight loss diet. And I started lifting again. Yeah, I'm still very much in transition and don't like the way I look without a shirt at all yet. That room was slow as shit. At least I didn't get hit. Yo. Oh. What did I do that was so slow about that? Feels like I did it as fast as I could. Actually, I wonder if like the rolling pin thing like spawns when you're in another room, maybe. Maybe how slow you go in the room before influences where you are on its pattern. That could be it, because I was slow in the room before the rolling pin. God damn it. Oh shit. Go. Botan's here. Hi, Botan. Hi, kitty. Good girl. Come up here, kitty. Good girl. Where are you going, kitty? Kitty. Hi, Botan. Hi. What are you doing? Hi. Good girl. Managing this fight properly. Bad phase, like he didn't let me get any double hits in. Well, I guess it was an alright run. The luck portion was really bad. I'm not ultra excited about Mega Man X here. I'm considering other options. Let me know if you have any ideas. Oh boy, Bruce. Hi. Hi, Bruce. Go time. Hi. All right. Don't. I don't know what I'm doing in Mega Man X, man. Not sure I'll have a good time if I play that. In fact, I'm almost certain I won't. What else can I do tonight? Um, my choices are continue with Mega Man as planned. Or watch YouTube videos. A lot less conversation than ideal. Did G ever stream today? No. Full time. Hi. Good girl. All right. By popular demand, I'm going to stop streaming. As everybody has voiced any opinion as to what I should do next, and pretty much everyone left. Yeah. Good time to go be by myself instead.